Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Srimad Bhagavatam 3.9.12. Nati prasidati
Nati prasidati
tata
tata
upachitta
upachita
upacharai
upacharai
aradhitaha
aradhita
suraganair
suranai
hridhi
vidhi
baddha
bhadda
yat sarvabhuta
sarvabhuta
dayaya
dayaya
asat
asat
abhalai alabhyaya
alabhyaya
eka
eka
nana
nana
janeshu
janeshu
avahita
avahita
suhrid
surit
antaratma
antaratma
nati prasidati tato pachito pacharar
nati prasidati tato pachito pacharai
aradhita suraganar hridibadhakamaihi
aradhita suraganai vibhaddakamai
yat sarvabhuta dayaya sadalabhyayako
yat sarvabhutaya sadalabhyayaiko
nana janeshvavahita suridantaratma
nana janeshvarita suridantaratma
nati prasidati tato pachito pacharar
nati prasidati tato pachito pacharai
aradhita suraganar hridibadhakamaihi
aradhita suraganai riddhivaddakamai
yat sarvabhuta dayaya sadalabhyayako
yat sarvabhutaya sadalabhyayaiko
nana janeshvavahita suhridantaratma
nana janeshvarita suridantaratma nati prasidati tato pachito pacharai
nati prasidati tato pachito pacharar
aradhita suraganai riddhivaddakamai
aradhita suraganar hridibadhakamaihi
yat sarvabhuta dayaya sadalabhyayaiko
yat sarvabhuta dayaya sadalabhyayako
Nananeshvavahita suridantaratma
nana janeshvavahita suhridantaratma nati prasidati tato pachita upacharai aradhita suraganar hridibadhakamai yat sarvabhuta dayaya sadalabhyayako nana janeshvavahita suridantaratma. Ladies.
Nati prasidati tato pachito pacharai
Nati prasidati tato pachito pacharar
aradhita suraganar
aradhita suraganar
riddhivaddakamai
hridibadhakamai
yat sarvabhuta dayaya sadalabhyayaiko
yat sarvabhuta dayaya sadalabhyayako nana janeshvavahita suhridantaratma na Never. Ati, very much. Prasidati, become satisfied. Tata, as much as. Upachitta, by pompous arrangement. Upacharaihi, with much worshipable paraphernalia. Aradhitaha, being worshipped. Suraganaihi, by the celestial demigods. Hridivadtakamaihi, with hearts full of all sorts of material desires. Yat, that which. Sarva, all. Bhuta, living entities. Dayaya, to show them causeless mercy. Asat, non-devotee. Alabhyaya, not being achieved. Ekaha, one without a second. Nana, various. Janeshu, in living entities. Avahitaha, perceived. Surit, well-wishing friend. Antaha, within. Atma, supersoul. My Lord, you are not very much satisfied by the worship of the demigods, who arrange for your worship very pompously, with various paraphernalia, but who are full of material hankerings. You are situated in everyone's heart as the supersoul, just to show your causeless mercy, and you are the eternal well-wisher. But you are unavailable for the non-devotee.
The demigods in the celestial heavenly planets, who are appointed administrators of the material affairs, are also devotees of the Lord. But at the same time they have desires for material opulence and sense gratification. The Lord is so kind that he awards them all sorts of material happiness, more than they can desire, but he is not satisfied with them, because they are not pure devotees. The Lord does not want any one of his innumerable sons, living entities, to remain in the material world of threefold miseries, to perpetually suffer the material pangs of birth, death, old age, and disease. The demigods in the heavenly planets, and many devotees on this planet also, want to remain in the material world as devotees of the Lord, and take advantage of material happiness. They do so at the risk of falling down to the lower status of existence, and this makes the Lord dissatisfied with them.
Om Jnana-timidantasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurn Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Mahyam Tadhati Shapadantikam Pandehang Shri Guru Shri Jatapada Kamalang Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Shagrajatam Shahagana Raganatan Vitam Stam Sadivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Shahagana Lalita Sri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kamshana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prashabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansha Golpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindho Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jayadvaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nati prasidati tato pachito pacharar aradhita suraganar vidibhatta kamai. Yat sarva bhuta dayayasad alabhya yaiko. Nana janeshva vahita suhridantaratma. Na ati prasidati, not very satisfied. Although the worship is offered with lots of paraphernalia, upacharaya means, just like we hear about, 8 upacharas and 16 upacharas, paraphernalia and arrangements. So the demigods may have so many arrangements and so much paraphernalia and stuff, but nati prasidati, Krishna is not very pleased with all of this, because their goal is to be pious Vaishnavas, to be pious Vaishnav enjoyers, to worship the Lord and enjoy in this material world as demigods. So Krishna is not very pleased with that, whether one is a demigod or whether one is on earth with that same mentality, let me worship God and enjoy life. Krishna considers it bad. It's still the diseased condition. The living entity is still neglecting his real life, and he's still addicted to this illusory notion that he can be happy by enjoyment of material things. And beyond that, he risks falling down, because a little too much enjoyment or a little more desire, because it's hard to keep hankerings in check if we're going to feed them and at the same time not be victimized by them. It's going to be a tough balancing act. Dharmasya yapavargasya nartortaya upakopate. Nartasya dharmaikantasya kamalabhaya hismata. The Bhagavatam therefore says that religious activities are not meant for sense gratification. Nartasya dharmaikantasya kamalabhaya hismata. As much as we need, that much we have to accept. But it's not meant for wonderful arrangements, for happiness in this world. Staying in this world is not a good idea. So the demigods have that not very good idea, and therefore the Lord is not very satisfied.
Pure devotees are not desirous of any material enjoyment, nor are they averse to it. They completely dovetail their desires with the desires of the Lord and perform nothing on their personal account. Arjuna is a good example. On his own sentiment, due to family affection, Arjuna did not want to fight. But finally, after hearing Srimad Bhagavad Gita, he agreed to fight in the interests of the Lord. Therefore, the Lord is very much satisfied with pure devotees, because they do not act for sense gratification, but only in terms of the Lord's desire. As Paramatma or Super Soul, he is situated in everyone's heart, always giving everyone the chance of good counsel. Thus, everyone should take the opportunity and render transcendental loving service to him, wholly and solely.
So, sense gratification is not the issue. Whether we get it or we don't get it, that's not the issue for the pure devotee. I may get more, I may get less. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I may get a kingdom or I may get a hut. That's not my concern. I just have to perform my duty and try to satisfy Krishna, that's my business. Not to worry about I want more or I want less. I want. What does Krishna want? That's all. What is that Arjuna is saying? It's in the first chapter. Ka priti syaj janardana. What pleasure will we get by killing the sons of Dhritarashtra? Ka priti syaj janardana. That's the criteria. If I'll get more enjoyment, I'll kill them. If I'll get less enjoyment, then I'm not going to kill them. And since it looks like I'm going to get less enjoyment, I'm out of here. I'm not going to fight. But as indicated here, that's not the issue. My enjoyment one way or the other. The issue is to be solely dedicated to the transcendental loving service of Krishna.
The non-devotees, however, are neither like the demigods nor like the pure devotees, but are averse to the transcendental relationship with the Lord. They have revolted against the Lord and must perpetually undergo their reactions of their own activities.
We're speaking ill of mixed devotional service, but the non-devotees, they're not even on that platform. They're not like the demigods who want to serve and enjoy, and they're not like the pure devotees who just want to serve. They're anti-service. They don't want to serve. They want independence. They want everything their own way. So they have to suffer the reactions. Yes.
Bhagavad Gita 4:11 states, Yeta mam prapadyante tam sateva bhajamyaham. Although the Lord is equally kind to every living being, the living beings, for their own part, are able to please the Lord to either a greater or lesser extent. The demigods are called sakama devotees, or devotees with material desires in mind, while the pure devotees are called nishkama devotees, because they have no desires for their personal interests. The sakama devotees are self-interested because they do not think of others, and therefore they are not able to satisfy the Lord perfectly, whereas the pure devotees take the missionary responsibility of turning non-devotees into devotees, and they are therefore able to satisfy the Lord more than the demigods.
This is a very interesting definition of sakama and nishkama. The sakama devotees ignore the non-devotees. They don't care about uplifting other living beings. They just care about their own service, their own situation. And the pure devotees, they're interested in uplifting others. So it can be a subtle point, but on the one side, just interested in their own service, their own relationship with Krishna, their own business. That means not fully dedicated to the Lord's purpose, because the Lord wants to uplift the other conditioned souls.
The Lord is unmindful of the non-devotees, although He is sitting within everyone's heart as well-wisher and super soul. However, He also gives them the chance to receive His mercy through His pure devotees who are engaged in missionary activities. Sometimes the Lord Himself descends for missionary activities, as He did in the form of Lord Chaitanya, but mostly He sends His bona fide representatives, and thus He shows His causeless mercy towards the non-devotees. The Lord is so satisfied with His pure devotees that He wants to give them the credit for missionary success, although He could do the work personally. This is a sign of His satisfaction with His pure nishkama devotees, compared to the sakama devotees. By such transcendental activities, the Lord simultaneously becomes free from the charge of partiality and exhibits his pleasure with the devotees.
This is Krishna's desire. He wants to uplift others, but rather than do the work himself, he mostly deputes it to his devotees. Nachatasman manusheshu kashchan me priyakritama. No one will be more dear to me than the person who's spreading this message. So the Lord gives the devotees the opportunity where he wants to give mercy, dayaya, sarvabhuta dayaya. He wants to give mercy to all living beings. But he doesn't always do it personally. Mainly he works through his devotees so that they'll get the credit. Nimitta matras pavasavya sachi. My dear Arjun, you fight and you take the credit. I've already done everything, but you take action and take the credit also. Yes.
Now a question arises. If the Lord is sitting in the hearts of non-devotees, why are they not moved to become devotees? It may be answered that the stubborn non-devotees are like the barren land or alkaline field, where no agricultural activities can be successful. As part and parcel of the Lord, every individual living entity has a minute quantity of independence, and by misuse of this minute independence, the non-devotees commit offense after offense to both the Lord and his pure devotees engaged in missionary work. As a result of such acts, they become as barren as an alkaline field, where there is no strength to produce.
Yat sarvabhuta dayaya asadalai alabi alabyai kaiko alabya yaiko nana janeshu avahita suhridantaratma. You're within everyone as the well-wishing friend, suhrit, as the antaratma, as the super soul, and you're very merciful, but still they don't realize you. Who doesn't realize you? Asat, the non-devotees, those who are asatgrahat, those who are sworn to the impermanent, don't realize him. Although he's there in the heart, although he sends his representatives, although he wants to give mercy, they can't get it. What is that? Alabhyaya. They can't achieve him. Alabhya. He's unachievable by the non-devotees because they don't want it. Yayatamam prapadyante tam stataiva pajamya. Those who want it, Krishna reciprocates. Those who want to avoid it, Krishna helps them avoid it. Vatasmitya jnanam apohanam. So they're like barren fields because they've made themselves like barren fields. Just like these farmers who are using, the nastiest chemicals, and so they're trying to get something, but they're poisoning their own fields. So at some point they're going to have difficulties. The land becomes unproductive. They have to put in more and more and more, and they'll get less and less and less. So they're making their own lives spiritually unproductive, or rendering themselves increasingly incapable of understanding Krishna by, as Prabhupada says, offense after offense. So they're very unfortunate, but still the business of the devotees is to try to uplift them. The Jagai and Madhai were so offensive. Still Nityananda Prabhu so mercifully and patiently tried to uplift them and was successful. So we have to try to follow in that line of action, even though they may be have a high alkaline content. Still we try to uplift them. Some questions? Mm-hmm.
Maharaj, it seems that it's possible to do the activities of the Nishkama devotee with the Sakama mentality.
Seems that it's possible to perform the Nishkama activities of the Nishkama devotees with a Sakama mentality. But because we're performing that Nishkama activity, it will gradually purify our hearts also. If one thinks, well, this is for the Nishkama devotees, I'm a Sakama devotee, and we'll remain a Sakama forever. But if we follow the Nishkama devotees, try to assist the Nishkama devotees, take up the work of the Nishkama devotees, gradually we can also become Nishkama. Something else? Nishkama. Mm-hmm. Unrelated. Okay, unrelated income. Let's hear about it.
What makes Krishna's power inexhaustible?
What makes Krishna's power inexhaustible? And even ever increasing. That's Krishna's nature. What makes things exhaustible? That's the nature of things in the material world. You subtract. You have 10, you subtract 1, you get 9. You subtract 2, you get 8. That's the nature of this world. But spiritually, it doesn't work that way. In the spiritual world, 1 minus 1 equals 1. The Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishishite. However much you subtract from Krishna, he remains complete. He's by nature inexhaustible. Even if you took everything else away from him, where would you put it? You'd have to put it in some part of him so he gets it back.
He speaks about using the power of austerity. He speaks about, I forgot where, about using the power of austerity to create and maintain and destroy the material world.
Brahma does that, yes. He creates and maintains by the power of austerity. By austerity, one becomes powerful.
But Mahavishnu is not using that same power.
No, he doesn't need to. It's just like, yogis become powerful. By austerity, Kardama Muni became so powerful that he could create an airplane that was like a 5-star hotel island, it was floating in the sky like that, by the power of his austerity. But Krishna, he doesn't need to do any austerities. From the lap of his mother, he can kill the Putana witch, no problem. He doesn't have to say, whoa, first let me do some austerities, then I'll be ready for you. Because he has all the power to begin with. Is that okay? Well, I'm thinking a bit about this inexhaustibility matter. Sariputta Prabhu gave an example. That you have a hotel with an unlimited number of rooms. Infinite number of rooms. So there's an infinite, and the rooms are all filled. So you have an infinite number of, what do you call them? Residents, or clients, what have you. Now, let's say that everyone in the even-numbered rooms checks out. Room 2, room 4, room 6, room 8, they all check out. All of them. How many residents are left? Right? Infinite, right? Even though all the even guys have checked out, there's still an infinite number of residents there. So, if it's possible from that point of view, you can understand it. If we're mathematically inclined. a little bit. Yes.
Maharaj, can you please translate Sabyasachi?
Sabyasachi. Yeah. Sabyasachi, as I remember, means that ambidextrous. He can do everything with either hand. There was some video on YouTube a while back, some archer from Denmark or someplace like that. The guy was incredible. He was really good. He could shoot with his right hand, he could shoot with his left hand, spin around and boom, 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 boom. It was quite good. So astonishing, actually. And Arjun was a lot better than that. So Sarvyasachi, he can do it either way. Yes.
Maharaj, I'm a bit conflicted by this whole idea of Krishna not being satisfied with the demigods. I mean, on one hand,
He's satisfied, but not ati prasidati. Prasidati, but not ati. Not a whole lot. Thanks. Is that okay? No, go on.
Yeah, because I mean they're doing his duty.
Hmm?
They're in the material world and they're performing all these universal duties.
Krishna's not so impressed. Oh, you're doing all these universal duties, you're handling this, you're handling that. So
But
what?
He wants them to do that.
He wants them to do that, but the real thing he wants is love and devotion. Not just to have a batch of managers. So he's a little satisfied, they're doing the work, okay, handling the rain, handling the sun, handling this, handling that. But they're not giving up this mentality of let me enjoy this material world. Just like here, same thing we were discussing yesterday. You have a pujari, and he's a paid pujari. But he does the offerings on time, the milk sweets are good, he shows up every day. So are you satisfied? Yeah, you're satisfied, he's doing the work. Are you very satisfied? No, because he's doing it for the money. And Krishna's also not impressed. You're handling, the sun. Big deal. I expand all the universes from the pores of my body. So what's the value of your little show? I'm supposed to be impressed. That you handle the water, or you handle the rain, or you handle the sunshine, or you handle the wind. That's supposed to knock me out or something? When I'm expanding millions of universes from the pores of my body while I'm asleep? So, Bhaktyamama Vijnana, Krishna, what he's interested in is devotion, not just your capability.
But then who's going to do that service if they're not doing it?
Well, Krishna could do it himself. That's another thing. Sometimes he becomes Brahma. Oh, no one's here to do it, I'll do it. But, all right, they're doing it. There's no one else to do it, and a blind uncle's better than no uncle. But he's not overwhelmingly pleased.
Just on the same point as Jayadvaita. So the demigods are not appointed because they are devotees of Krishna or Vishnu?
No, they're appointed. You can't be a demigod unless you're a devotee. What is that? Vishnu Bhakta Smrita Deva. You have to be a devotee, or you can't be a demigod. But you don't have to be a pure devotee. You just have to be a devotee. That's like minimum requirement. Imagine if the gopis said, we'll come and dance with you, but in exchange we want, I need a flat, and I need a stipend, and I needed this, and I needed that. All right, It's not that Krishna is in need of dancing companions, and therefore he's dancing with the gopis. Nor is, could you manage a universe? I mean, I only really want to dance with highly qualified people. And it's like now girls all have to go to university and get some sort of qualification, or, no one wants them. So, can you manage a universe? What can you do before I dance with you? That's not the qualification. Qualification is pure devotion. And therefore Krishna said, I couldn't even repay you. I wouldn't be able to. Because you've given your hearts 100%. Giving up everything else. Is that okay? Yes?
In that example of Krishna and the demigods, like if there's no one to take the position of Brahma, then Krishna takes the position of Brahma. So he doesn't put an unqualified person in the post. But we see like in the Sankirtan mission, sometimes unqualified people are given the opportunity to serve.
Everyone's unqualified, even Brahma. We were reading yesterday, he's so qualified, but he gives benedictions to demons. He steals Krishna's cows, Krishna's calves and boyfriends. Indra does worse. So they're qualified, just like our devotees are qualified, but sometimes they do something in private. I told them not to do that. What can I do? We have to, what is it? You accept the cow, you have to accept the kicks. That's from one point of view, or from another point of view, we're training people. So we have to accept that there'll be some discrepancy, that not everything will be perfect. But we try to appreciate, they're doing some service. Then how to increase that mood of pure service. Even though there must be some discrepancy. Something else? Yes?
There was a question on social media about, since everything...
There's a question on social media. There's so many questions on social media. Social media is very questionable.
It was relating to the... since everything is conscious in the spiritual world, that means fruits and food is also conscious. So what would happen to, say, a carrot? If someone takes a carrot and eats it, what happens to that carrot?
This is what social media is for. The most deep and profound questions. It disappears. We're not going to worry too much about what happens to the carrot. But imagine, how many hours by now have gone into the discussion of what happens to the carrot. And imagine if all those hours were spent in distributing books or in some other way, pushing on the Sankirtan movement.
What are some of the factors that can go into helping one improve the service mode?
What are some of the factors that go into helping one improve one's service mood? First of all, sincerity and determination. and good association. Because we pick up the qualities of those we associate with. Then proper guidance. Okay. Yes.
What can we do to protect ourselves from being hard on ourselves when we realize
What can we do to protect ourselves from being hard on ourselves?
when we realize that our devotional service is not pure, and
When we realize our devotional service is not pure, why protect? Be hard on yourself. Go ahead.
if it doesn't help knowledge, if it doesn't help being
Well, then get back to work. To be a little hard on ourselves is good. Why, a person who just goes on doing stupid things and never says to himself, "You're doing stupid things," is missing. It's not about peace. There's a part of his brain that's missing. We should be hard on ourselves. Only the psychopaths, they're not hard on themselves. They just, filled a schoolroom with rifle fire, and they're fine. It's like, I do what I need to do, and they never turn on themselves and say, what kind of fool are you? What kind of monster are you? So the psychopaths, they can avoid self-criticism that way. But a healthy person, when he does something wrong or inadequate, he does a review and said, that was, what were you thinking? Well, that's good, then he improves. But it shouldn't be self-indulgent. Self-indulgent means he just goes beating himself up to the point where he doesn't serve. I'm so full, oh, I'm so full. What's the use of that? Get back to work. Yes.
Yeah, I was going to speak about being self-indulgent and just giving up. It's different from being hard on yourself.
Yes. Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Anything else? Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. All glories to you.